The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. After a wild finish last week in the Area 500 where Van Drugman survived the carnage and was the Lone Ranger to make it to the checkered flag, we continue the Area Cup Series brought to you by the Studio Temporary here in South Florida at the Homestead Miami Speedway. A track that's been reconfigured 2 times, first a rectangle and then a flat 6-degree banked oval. 2003 gave us our current configuration, and it is now a driver and a fan favorite. How will the Area Cup guys tackle this fine establishment, and what will happen in today's race? Well, we got about an hour and a half to answer all of those questions. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Area Cup Series, again brought to you by the Studio Temporary. It is not the 8th annual 500 there, but it is the... Well, we don't have a title for this one. It's just the Homestead 140 here today. It's going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck. I got Hunter Sleppy helping me out with the calls, and Brad is just kind of stealthing out here in the background. So, Hunter, one of the best tracks that these next gens can race at, one of the best tracks any stock car can race at, multi-groove, tire wear. These guys will be sliding all over this place.
It should be a fun race nonetheless. Disappointed I missed the Area 500, but I'm glad I get to see them go toe-to-toe here at this 1.5-mile banked racetrack over here on the Homestead Miami side of things. It's got progressive banking throughout the turns, 18 to 20 degrees through 1 and 2, 3 and 4, a little bit on the straights with 4 degrees of banking, but it's going to be one of those races where you're going to have to fight the race car like hell. Jacob Bell said that it's just so tight, and then if you make a little adjustment to it, then it's just too loose, so you have to find the fine balance between keeping a manageable race car and not getting too close to that wall.
Absolutely, and we saw it in practice at the wall line. Ripping the wall is quite lucrative here, and well, you can't run it too tight or else you may get yourself in trouble. But right now, qualifying is underway here. 2.5 minutes left to go in the session. The majority of drivers have already turned their lap time. And Sebastian Marin up front by, what is that, about a tenth of a second. Who else do we have on track now? Any lap times to be had? Here is Reese Schaefer, that number 97 car. See, tracking about a tenth off the pole as things stand. Let's see if that trend continues. Running the bottom here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Reese Schaefer looking to cap off a good qualifying session, get a good starting spot for tonight's race. Going to be a 33.5. That's going to put him 24th, right around mid-pack.
I'll say our timers seem to be actually pretty accurate that time, so we'll see if that carries on. Here's Jake Fisher in the number 84. And he's running about middle, straddling that seam, and you'll see a lot of different lines here. Homestead is basically an open slate with where you can run that car. This lap trending maybe about 10th or so, and it will tally in the 8th spot, so not too shabby. You've got about 4 or 5 drivers left on the track. Rocky Boyd, that number 16, I don't know if this is, I think this is his out lap, trying to get as much steam as possible heading to the stripe.
Yeah, everybody's going to want to be ripping that Larson line on the outside lane, and looks like Rocky Boyd's trying to do just that. We did see that there was a 32-second lap time, because you mentioned that the track record was about 32.5, set back in Season 1 by Garrett Heath, and someone ran almost a 32 flat. Well, someone decided to wall ride around the track, and his name was, what was his name again? On the tip of my
Christian
tongue.
DeBoer.
It was old Christian DeBoer in the 56. Yeah, he was wall riding, and obviously that's not allowed, and especially in qualifying, that's not even going to be allowed. You to make contact with the wall once, and your time is erased. So Rocky Boyd going to put that 16 car 38th. Going to have a long way to make up from the start of this one, and it's looking like Sebastian Marin's going to be the pole sitter.
I've never seen a car just abruptly, I don't know if he's instantly reversed that car. I've never seen a car abruptly do that, but we're going to head to a warm-up session now, which we won't stay there for too long. I know admin will just kind of do it to get everybody situated where they need to be, and then we'll get a little bit of a boot up to the race. But gives us a chance to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. Again, if it's your first time, don't make it your last. Hit the like and subscribe button. I think we are about 20 or so short of 2,000. And if you haven't hit those buttons here, help us get to that goal. We would ever so appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching on the Area iRacing Twitch, consider following over there. $5 a month will get you custom emotes. You can earn double points, and you can redeem those double points to get yourself some free sweet merch on that store over there. So continue watching and take care of things on that side of the spectrum here, Hunter. But 140 laps, you're the statistician. This track does have the tendency to run green flag, but these guys will be bunched up quite a bit, at least in the beginning stages of the race. So what do the trends say about how a race here at Miami will tend to go?
So usually we average about 5 yellows a race here. The last season, our caution came out with 35 to go. So that was when the last yellow came out. On average, it's around 30 laps to go. We did have one overtime finish. That was back in season 2. Jake Nichols, the only 2-time winner here. Cameron Hearn, Jake Matheson, and John Hall last season came through with the win. Starting position, really you want to be inside the front row. P2 is essentially where the winner usually starts from. Lead about 49 laps, and we usually see the last pass for the win around 28 laps to go, but we will have to see if trends stay the same or if they have a tendency to go a little chaotic and flip-flop this year.
Well, speaking of chaos here, Liam Sheen having some fun there in the pits right there, but that will conclude the warm-up session. We're going to bump this over to our race, where, of course, we will give you the Central Mobile Home starting lineup. If you're looking for a new home, a new or a large shed, Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, proudly serving Florida customers for now, I guess it would be 30 years, with a plethora of small, large home floor plan shed designs and Triple Crown trailers available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. I'm not sure if the website is live, but if it is, it's centralmobilehomesinc.com, Hunter. But let's head down trackside and let them know where they're starting here today from the Homestead Miami Speedway.
Got that right. Sebastian Marin was the pole sitter, so he's looking to get his season off to a better start than last week out at Daytona. Jeremy Miller, surprisingly second after that win in the Truck Series at Daytona. Going to have a little momentum boost going into this race. Kwame Scott and Zach Carr roll out in the second row. The third row, Van Drugman, the Area 500 winner from last week, and John Forbes Jr. going to roll off P6. In seventh, it's Seth Knoll in the 1, Jake Fisher alongside him in the 4th row. The 5th row, we find Philip Groner in the 11, going to roll off 9th, and alongside him, Gavin Rogers, 10th into number 75.
Well, head in the second 10 here, Michael Curhan for Lucky Ducks in 11th, with Garrett Grant going to be for Swan in the 12th spot. 13th finds Drew Jua with Travis Beckner. He was pretty quick in practice, didn't quite back it up in qualifying. The Moose, Patrick Moose, out of Charlotte in 15th with Jake Nichols. Expect him to move on up through the field here in 16th, with 17th being Frankie Barroso, Bryce Senesac in 18th, and then rounding out our top 20 is AJ Stravato and James Scioli there in 20th.
Skyler going to have a lot of ground to make up. Same with these guys in the 11th row. Hayden Swank going to start 21st, and 22nd it's going to be Dylan Alt in the number 47. Max Service in the next row will be 23rd, and 24th will be Adam Cabot in the 17. Joseph Causey in the 25th position, and Josh Cottle in the 26th position. And then we find Liam Sheen in 27th, and Reese Schaefer down in 28th. Jacob Harbert's 29th, and Seth Berger 30th.
We have a field. We had a full grid, so we'll have to figure out the DNQs there. Looks like we had a few of them, but 31st we had Jared Tallman with Brent Procari, then Tyler Nichols, Cole Hooper, David Brown, Douglas Newbigging, and then the boss band Jacob Bell, Rocky Boyd, And we'll just scroll on through here. We'll wait for the official call on the DNQs. We had 46, and we only had 43 that can start. Of course, our chartered entries, and then our go or go homers.
I don't know about you. On the leaderboard, it says Christian DeBoer is disqualified.
I wonder if... Do you think that has anything to do with what happened earlier? Don't know.
It's a very great question. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure that out, but should be a fun race nonetheless. We're going to have a pace lap here to get everything bunched up, guys, warming their tires and getting their strategies planned as Sebastian Marin, coming off a dominating performance in the Pro Series last Thursday, led 60 of 95 laps, and he's looking to possibly do the same here as we look at our race details. It's going to be a full fuel load for these guys, 4 sets of tires, and again, fixed setup, so got to manage with what you can, and especially at this track, because tire wear is probably going to be a major concern. We're going to see guys slowly migrate towards the top, or we might see guys just go to the top straight out the gate. It's going to be fun nonetheless to see the comers and goers and the different strategies that we might see along the way.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see if this does go green. Again, are you going to split the race into different segments? Are you going to do one less, one more? What line are you going to run? A lot of different variables, and again, that all depends on what kind of race we do have. With a full field of drivers of this echelon, I do expect things to be very tight, but we were told that this setup does build loose, and a loose setup typically brings the cream to the crop a little bit faster, Hunter, than I would say a tight setup does.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be something to keep an eye on, especially with guys like Sebastian Marin, who they know how to take care of their stuff early on, and they always seem to be late in the going up front. We'll see if Jake Nichols can do anything about that and try to work his way up through the field as well. Going to be starting 16th, and then Dylan Alt as well in 22nd. But the pace car is about to make the hard left turn on the pit road. Sebastian Marin, Jeremy Miller on the front row, going to lead the field to the green flag here for 140 laps from Homestead, Miami, and we're underway.
And we are getting ourselves underway, and some issues in the back. That was Jacob Bell getting very loose off the jump there. That'll be a little bit of damage to that automobile. Homestead, a track that has very little grip, and I think drivers already realizing it very early, but we do stay green. Sebastian Marin getting the whole shot. Jeremy Miller really ready to pounce, but falls back in line.
Zach Carr, John Forbes Jr., Seth Knoll, they were 3 wide going into turn 3, and we can already see the different lanes being used just from the first lap alone. Marin will lead that first lap. Jeremy Miller will be hot on his tail in second. Van Drugman has moved up to third since the start of this race, and behind him they're 2 wide, maybe even 3 wide. Guys running up near the wall.
That was Philip Groner there ripping the fence. And Hunter, there's a lot of different strategies, a lot of different beliefs on where you should run. Do you want to run the bottom? Is that going to save your tires? Is it better to run the top? Because, you might be putting less wheel into it, less tire scrub. A lot of guys have different feels, different desires, and luckily Homestead allows you to entertain all of those different feelings. But you can see we have a big mess of drivers. You see Jake Nichols in it. Garrett Grant 3 wide with the 96 up top there. That's Drew Jua. Again, every inch of this speedway being occupied.
One guy getting up close to the wall. I'm not sure if he made contact with the wall. It was a bright blue car, but nonetheless, I think we'll see some guys migrate towards the outside lane in the later
that's a
parts
tight
of this
3 wide
run. Yeah, Garrett Grant in the middle there got really close to, I believe that was Travis Beckner, was it? No, that was not him.
Going back
47.
Going back a little bit further, here's Joseph Causey, eat my freshly cut grass. The words of AJ Stravato there off the front nose of Joseph Causey. And there's all that dirty air there, Hunter, and a lot of this does turn into an aero guessing game. Don't run the line the guy in front of you is going to run. But when you're Joseph Causey right now, even with all the multi-groove availability here, you can't evade the dirty air.
You can't. It's going to get you whatever lane you run in, and especially in corner X, that's probably going to be the challenging part about it. It's not an issue right now for Jake Nichols. Mentioned he started down 16th. He's already up to 9th after the first few laps. Dylan Alt from 22nd to 15th. So some guys know how to make their way through the field. Others are trying to keep everyone at bay. Van Drugman lost the third spot to Kwame Scott, but there we see Dylan Alt to the inside of Garrett Grant there in the 47. That's for the 14th spot. He's going to bring another car with him. We're on board, and I believe that is the 7 of James Scioli, who started, I want to say, a row in front of Dylan Alt. So guys are slowly making their way towards the front early on.
Yeah, +8 for Alt here, 6 laps in, and that was Garrett Grant kissing some wall off of turn number 2. That'll scatter them up, down, and about down the back straightaway. But heading back a little further up, you can see, well, here is our Tyler Reddick of the race, and that's going to be Philip Groner. He has that top line down pat, and you see Jake Nichols in that bright green car trying to follow suit. Who's down there to the inside of the 70? That's going to be John Forbes Jr. in that aftermarket coffee car, and Gavin Rogers closing into his rear.
Yeah, then right behind him, you'll see out the rear, it's Jake Nichols in the 73. Again, got to get used to seeing him in the lime green. So used to seeing that purple color on his 73, but has switched it up a bit for season 8, and he is closing in. He's already inside the top 10. Has made up 8 positions since the start of this one, and just slowly biding his time and methodically working his way through. Philip Groner we see up front on the outside again. He's still going to get around Van Drugman for the 4th position.
Now, there is, for those who maybe are less aware, maybe friends and family watching casually, there actually is physics to running that line. Now, there is more banking up there, which Hunter told us earlier, but what actually happens is you actually condense the air, so to speak, between the car and the wall. It creates a bubble of sorts that helps you run the wall without hitting it. iRacing does emulate that, but of course, every bubble is able to be popped, and you will see drivers getting their Homestead dues there up against the fence.
And right behind the 11, you see Van Drugman and John Forbes Jr., 5th and 6th on the racetrack. Jake Nichols up to 7th. He's going to be making his way towards this group shortly. Drugman going to look low, heading into 3, trying to get back around the 11 of Philip Groner, and Forbes Jr. going to follow his tire tracks and a little bit of a check up there, and Nichols going to have a strong run on corner exit.
Seen a lot more drivers choose to run to the bottom of the racetrack. Let's go back and find some of the action there in the mid-20s right now, where you see Reese Schaefer, Jarrett Talmadge. You see David Weishart, who is uncharacteristically running, just kind of average here today, running on that outside lane. But this is where you see the most side-by-side and positions being exchanged right now. But look at what you see. The snake is down to the bottom of the track. Now, there's a science to that. There's a reasoning to that. I don't know what it is. I haven't got to run this car this week. But what Jacob did tell us is this car gets loose. And it is, I think, harder to run a loose car against the wall, if I understand my racing.
Yeah, Weishart might be running average right now. He's actually gained 18 spots since the start of this race, so he has been able to find some ground there. We saw the 73 Jake Nichols. Again, he's worked up 9 spots since the start of this one, so he's inside the top 10. He's migrated towards the outside lane after about 10 laps on this stint. Philip Groner right there in 4th. Him, Van Drugman, John Forbes Jr., that's the 3 cars that Nichols is currently chasing after. Drugman going to look low, and John Forbes not really looking middle. He's kind of just trying to get clean air through the turn, but the 73 and Nichols, he's going to bite and get that run.
Yes, he is. Getting a good run off the inside, and then that gives you the chance to maybe do a Homestead slider of sorts here. Maybe not. Oh, Van Drugman is going to be clear if he wants to go to the top and shut the door on Groner, and he will do just that. But a really good bite to the bottom for Nichols, but got to wiggle off the corner, and that did eat some of it up. Let's go check up and see what's going on with our leader here, Sebastian Marin, and he is ripping up right to that fence. And Jeremy Miller, obviously the truck race winner on Tuesday last week, and that race did not go without controversy. Looking to have a nice smoother race here, and thus far in a really good position, getting right in that air of Sebastian, but that dirty air not seeming to bother him.
Not at all, as we're riding on board with Jeremy Miller. He's going to look to the inside, try to go for the lead, but Merritt's going to drive it deep into turn one. Miller's going to try and back it up, get a run on corner exit, but one thing I'm starting to notice with these lap times, we're already nearing 1 second of fall off compared to the best lap of the race, a 33.74 for Marin, and then his last lap was a 34.5. Miller a little bit better with a 34.39. We'll see what it is this time through, but already tire fall off starting to become a major concern.
Nothing, as you can see here on our Whiplash SimCam's telemetry, we are shifting here. That was something I didn't expect, but as you said, with the fall off, they are slowing down quite a bit, which naturally makes you want to get some more RPMs, pull it down a gear. We got 5 to choose from. But I'm also seeing, Hunter, that we are starting to really put some work into this Homestead racetrack. You can already see the groove rubbering in on the bottom, and you can also see that groove rubbering in on the third lane. So again, that's where the dynamicism comes into play, where maybe a certain lane will come in and maybe a certain lane will change. In fact, let's check out the weather, because that track temp might be worth noting.
Yeah, track temp 126 degrees. That is scorching hot. That's hot enough to cook an egg on the racetrack if you really want to. It's a crisp 79, but with the Florida humidity, it's probably terrible, but very interesting to keep an eye on, as Jake Nichols moving up to 4th, getting around Van Drugman, last week's Area 500 winner. Already dominating charge from the 73, up 12 spots since the start of this one. We mentioned Dylan Alt. He started deep as well, was making his way through the field. He's kind of stalled out in 14th. Him and James Scioli, 13th, as well as Adam Cabot, some of the bigger movers of the race, up 7, 8, and 9 spots since the start of the race.
Seen a very interesting line go on there. Essentially, a lot of them, such as Cabot, they're starting on the bottom of the racetrack, and then as the rather than running the bottom and then drifting out on corner exit, they're essentially like running up the hill. And of course, as soon as I say that, he runs a different lane here in 3 and 4, trying to find that grip here on this super hot surface. But again, a lot of different driving styles here, and I know you had brought up the tire fall off here. Let's use, who's going to be our guinea pig? Well, maybe not our guinea pig, it'll be our moose, Patrick Moose. Let's see what his statistics are. He's fallen off about a half a second, but pertaining to our leader here, Sebastian Marin, who's been in clean air, what is that, about 6-7 tenths or so?
Yeah, right around there. We'll see what it is this time through, but very impressed with Jeremy Miller still hanging in second. I mean, we know that he's a super speedway god, as we can attest to his Tuesday night win in the Truck Series, but really it's all about putting yourself in the right spot. And I mean, he qualified up front, and the stats say that's where you want to be, especially for Homestead, inside the front row. So put himself in a good spot, but Jake Nichols is coming through, and so is John Forbes Jr. looking to the outside of Van Drugman, trying to get around him for the 5th spot. Going to see if he'll have a run on corner exit, and not quite, so he's going to tuck in at the moment in the 6th position.
Yes, he is, and this is where you can see the lines going on, running right on that top of the racetrack. And if you really want to go expert status, Hunter, you can rip right for that little fence shadow, because again, iRacing is very finite and detailed with the track temp situation. So if you can run in a shadow, that's lower track temp, which with at 120 plus overall, getting a couple degrees cooler is going to be a massive advantage. But hitting that 1 foot strip, I mean, I'm not a dirt guy. I don't know how hard it is to hit the cushion, but the risk versus reward is pretty up there for that.
Yeah, well, the biggest person that's getting rewarded from it, David Weishart. I mentioned it earlier. He's up 23 spots now, so he's still climbing through the field. He's in the 18th spot. He's only got about close to a half second of fall off compared to his lap time. As soon as I say that, he loses a couple spots at the moment, but 29 car definitely pretty good, moving his way through the field.
Yes, he is. Again, our Season 1 champion, David Weishart, there with that Harry's Tap House and Kitchen on that car. A little bit of connectivity issues there with somebody in his direct sight there, but looks like a battle forming with Dylan Alt battling with James Scioli. Again, another one that we're getting used to the new paint scheme for 2026, having that purple paint scheme there. Looks like Scioli having the battle with, who's that? That is Drew Jua in the 96, the Publix Camry there. And just ahead of that, the Moose battling with, I believe that is Zach Carr in the number 27.
Yeah, a lot of battles here throughout the pack, and 45 trying to get underneath, but he can't quite do it yet, so he's going to try and tuck back in line, set it up for possibly a... Whoa, he's going to lose it. He's going to lose it off turn 2. That's Zach Carr, actually, not Patrick Moose. He's going to tap the wall, and that's going to bring out our first yellow of the night.
I'm very surprised that brought out a caution. I wonder if they loosened up their algorithm as to what brings out a caution here, but let's check out what happened. This may have been Arrow here. You can see right to the rear was the 45. No, he wasn't. I don't even think that was close enough for Arrow. I think that just stepped out, and I know I don't say it on area, but I like to call it the elephant on a skateboard syndrome, where all the weight shifts to one side, and then it shifts to the other side, and you can't really ever get it stable. It's just wishy-washing to each side, and shouldn't be too many issues there.
No, we'll see everybody come down pit road. At least they should. About 24 laps in. Close to a second to fall off. Actually, 1 second to fall off for Jeremy Miller. But then, lap time's probably distorted from the yellow coming out. I've seen a lot of 35, 36-second times. But nonetheless, tires going to be a major concern for these guys. They're going to want to come in and put on some fresh Goodyear rubber.
Yep, heading on in here to a very narrow pit road, so... hopefully everybody binds their P's and Q's and gets themselves situated here. You can see Weishart with that first box, which sometimes is actually an advantage in certain instances here. Marin popping in our first caution of the race. And I was actually just about to get into that, Hunter, because we were about to hit that pivotal point where if you wanted to split the race into segments, usually lap 30 tends to be a popular one here at Miami, but that will get eradicated. And we will put our first of 4 sets of Goodyears on these cars.
Oh, Jeremy Miller is going to win the race off pit road. So that's a very interesting, very interesting indeed. So the 30 is going to be the control car. Marin down the second. Nichols up to third. Drugman and Kwame Scott round out your top 5. And you can see on the right, Nichols don't really know if did he really take 2 tires? Or is that?
Let's see here. No, everyone took 4.
Might have been a little glitch.
Yeah, the little back-end tweak here that there's a never-ending tweak system here to PTR TV, and I missed one thing, but our pit time graphic, we won't use that here today. But everyone took 4 tires there, and I will say we can show this. Look at the pit lane time. So 13.9 for Jeremy Miller. Look at the pit lane time. That's cone to cone, including the stop. Now let's go back a few spots and show Van Drugman, for example. Interestingly, almost 3 seconds slower in the pits. 1 second slower on the watch, but also 3 seconds slower in the pits, interestingly enough.
Yeah, and he dropped to the 5th position, so very crucial pit stops there. Going to want to try and righten the ship for future pit stops. It's always good to get out your whatever it may be that's not too well for you. Get out the early kinks and whatnot inside your first pit stop, especially oversliding the tires and speeding. I don't know if we had anyone speeding up here, but we might have had 1 or 2 guys slide over their box.
Which is very easy to do, especially with a full pit lane. You don't necessarily have the full availability to see your stall. I mean, you have your spotter counting down for you, but at the same time, it's not very accurate. So you're really either using your real-life spotter or just really hoping that you get that memory sorted down pat. But we'll head into the restart zone here, and Jeremy Miller will have the advantage of being our control driver, and let's see if he can hold command, or will Sebastian have the restarted champions and get that lead back. We saw a lot of wheel spin before, and we see it again.
Well, this time they didn't even make it to the line. One driver did, and that's going to bring out the second yellow of the night.
David Brown. Yeah, we quite literally did not even... I don't even think they got into third gear. cue that up on our instant replay here. David Brown back of the shot.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure what caused that.
That's just...
it just went straight to the right.
It might, yeah. There's this is a very wore out surface here at Miami, and there's obviously not a lot of grip. So if you hit the gas with too much power, it'll just bite. It's happened before, and a couple innocent bystanders, unfortunately, had to pay the price for that.
Is that like Jacob Harbert's in the 80? Was the car that he got hit? Just literally doing nothing, just minding his business, and unfortunately has some damage to his car now. Going to have to take that down pit road and repair it. It's going to bring out our second yellow of the night. However, Jeremy Miller will be able to lead lap. He'll get a bonus point for leading the lap. Now he'll try to lead the most laps. Again, another bonus point, and again, it's going to add up towards the end of the season.
Absolutely. Get himself a lap led, and Sebastian never had the opportunity to even fight for the lead there to see what kind of restart he'd get. But, you know, a lot of drivers here on the iRacing service, Hunter, and even just as a whole, you know, Atlanta Motor Speedway, one of the most driver favorite tracks prior to the reconfiguration. Now, some drivers love it, some drivers hate it. But where I'm mainly getting to is the older version of Atlanta, or even, you know, an Auto Club Speedway prior to it turning into an Amazon warehouse. There was 20, 25-year-old pavement there, and there was really no grit to it left. So no matter what you did, grip just didn't exist for more than 1 or 2 laps. And Homestead being paved 2003, believe it or not, we're on 23 years of pavement here at Homestead. So yeah, this place is really, really wore out.
Yeah, Dover's pretty old too, but that's concrete, and that really doesn't age as well, or it ages better, I should say, compared to the regular pavement ovals that we get. But it's very intriguing because there's no other track like it. Actually, the only other track that I could say is Chicagoland, because they haven't repaved at all since their opening year in 01. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see it later this year in the real world how much of a challenge that's going to be. That's even older surface than Homestead, but I would assume it's probably going to race the same. I mean, we've seen it in the area before. Chicagoland's always a pretty darn good racetrack to have races on, not only for Cup but trucks and the Pro Series as well. So we'll see later on in the year, both in the sim and in the real life. But for now, very great surface here at Homestead.
Can I make my prediction, Hunter? I'm calling it. I think they're going to run 1 year, just as they did with North Wilkesboro. I think they're going to run 1 year on Chicagoland Speedway, and then they're going to repave it the following year, because it probably is decaying after about 5 years of it not being used. I hope not, but I feel like that's going to happen. But at least we will preserve the legacy version here on iRacing, most likely. I'll almost bet on that. But here we go. Jeremy choosing the outside lane here, Hunter, and more importantly, will we actually get fired off this time? Will everybody get the power down with no issues?
I would hope so. I'm confident that we'll be able to go this time through.
Well, let's see into the restart box. We'll look at the back of the shock. That's where the issues lied last time by, and thus far, everything looking okay. Heading into turn number 1, Jeremy from the outside lane, and Sebastian pulls into line. Van Drugman, remember, he won last week's race, trying to go back-to-back, battling with Jake Nichols off turn 2.
Door-to-door for that third spot, heading into 3. Marin close to the bumper of Miller, but Drugman trying to keep that outside lane going, trying to hang on to third. Nichols will take over for the meantime. John Forbes Jr. in the 70, and Kwame Scott now falling outside the top 5.
And Kwame Scott last week at Daytona, someone who really led the charge and really had a lot of command over the lanes, but made a critical error spinning out on the entry to pit road with about 20 to go, and that threw his race away. Again, Kwame Scott, our former Coke, now Thrustmaster IndyCar Series driver here, and IndyCar used to come here to Homestead, Miami, and I think everyone wishes that they would make a return trip, and he's battling there in the 6th spot, and that's Gavin Rogers running up top. And again, the gaggle, the hornet's nest back there is, I think, Sebastian making a stab for the lead.
Trying to. Miller's drove it in a little bit, and he's going to hold him at bay for the meantime. And I say for the meantime because he is all over him on exit. So Mayer will have to regroup and refocus for possibly turns 1 and 2 if he wants to make another go at it.
Now, Jeremy drove it really deep on in there. You can see Van Drugman rim riding up there in the back of the shot, but Heron using those fresh tires. The fresh tires will push you through the dirty air for a little bit. He's going to do it on in there. He's going to do a Homestead slider. Answer is yes. Will it stick? Will there be a crossover? Well, will it stick? No, there will be a crossover, but will it be enough for Miller to resurge? And it will not. Clear for Marin.
Right back in the lead goes the Marin machine in the 66 car. Meanwhile, back here, that is Hayden Swank in the 00. James Scioli as well. Swank start back in the same row as Dylan also. Both those guys are making their way close towards the top 10. Hello, we got a 3-wide move from, I believe that was Adam Cabot in the 17 making the deep send, but we see Scioli run the outside lane. Swank going to pull through in the middle, and well, we'll find Cabot settling in behind them as David Whitestar is still making his way through the field. He's up an astounding 26 positions since the start of this race.
Yeah, I said he was running mid, but I also forgot, that he did start in the rear of the field. I'm just used to him being top 5 to 15 and sometimes higher than that, but obviously putting the full culmination of what his race has started off to get to this point, only 1/4 distance in approximately. Slightly more than that is quite admirable there. So doing a great job, and saw a couple replays here today. Again, our instant replays brought to you by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back. Be back at Hendry County on April 4th for Mod Lights, V8 Warriors, and more. Tickets $20 for adults with discounts for seniors, teens, and kids age under 5 will get in free. Come see Travis Beckner and all the others at the southernmost dirt track in America in Clewiston, Florida, HendryRacing.com.
Speaking of Travis, where is he on the racetrack?
He was up there in practice, but right now he's only running 25th right now for Mr. Beckner.
Oh, that's cool. You got his picture of him in his tracksuit.
Yep,
picture.
Repping the Sunoco. Yep. He filled out the form. He did his, which a lot of these drivers have, which we like having that little personalized touch here. But this is the gaggle. It is actually second on back now. There's not a little runaway as there was in the first stint. Right now, even Marin only up by 0.2 of a second, but you go back all the way up to about 9th or 10th. Everybody is basically in a snake, and again, Van Drugman, the only one at present, ripping the fence with authority. Look at that run.
Yeah, down to the inside of Miller for the second spot. He'll be able to take that with ease as he's going to clear him going into turn 1. Meanwhile, Kwame Scott going to rip the top in 1 and 2. He's got Jake Nichols behind him and John Forbes Jr. below. But Van Drugman up to second now, and he's looking to get around Sebastian Mayer, and if he'll be able to get close enough to do that.
The lucky thing for Marin is that he can look in the mirror and say, oh, Van Drugman's running the top. Maybe I should try it. Maybe he's running the bottom. Maybe I should try it. He can do that arrow blocking, but also he can learn maybe where is working for others and implement it himself. It's just a benefit of being the leader. As again, Kwame running the top right now, along with who is that behind him? That was John Forbes, and we're starting to see a little bit of spread out, which is what we like to see. Allow this race to play out and the strategies to form as they go side by side. Jake Nichols falling back to 6th, but he's going to fight back on the top.
Yeah, Nichols trying to stay inside the top 5. John Forbes Jr. had to go. He'll stay tucked in line. And Nichols going to run the top. Everybody else running the middle to bottomish parts of the racetrack. Meanwhile, back here, Skylar Shackelford in the 88 right in front of the number 99 car, and then over there's Drew Jua in the 96. Jua, Joseph Causey, actually, not Skylar Shackelford. I'm thinking of a different series. And Cole Hooper, 15th, 16th, and 17th, respectively, on the racetrack.
Really pinching him down there was Drew to Causey there, and that's making it really hard, and that allows Cole Hooper to close back in, and then you get the Moose, and then Liam Sheen, now he did not start too well. Started 27th, so like Weishart has worked his way through, just not as much there on the plus minus. But this is not a run that I expect from Liam Sheen. Usually, again, he's up there, right there in the top 5 or so. So maybe if he can get that clean air, but just getting through the jungle here in area with how tight this competition is, you know, a bad qualifying run, it really is hard to recover from.
Yeah, unless your name is David Weishart, because the 29 car, he is currently up 30 spots. I was going to say the 29 car is up 29 spots, but he is knocking on the door of the top 10, getting around James Skyley on the outside lane, up to 11th in at number 29. He has found the rhythm to work his way from all the way back in 41st to knocking on the door of the top 10. He's got to get around Dylan Alt in the 47, which you mentioned him. He's up 12 spots since the start of this one. The 7 of Skyoli is up 7. Mentioned Adam Cabot in the back, up 10 spots, and Cole Hooper actually up 16 spots. So guys are able to make their way towards the front, including Jake Nichols, who we mentioned, start 16th and is up 13 spots in third.
Absolutely, and as we're being told in chat here, David Weishart Raikkonen is actually the full name of that number 29 car, and racing accordingly right now. Only have 3 drivers off of the lead lap. Max Service in the 81. Jacob Harberts, remember he was involved in one of those restart faux pas. And Bryce Senesac, I don't quite remember what happened to Bryce, but he is 8 laps down. Other than that, all 40 of the 43 drivers on the lead lap, and in terms of where we stand right now, we're kind of at, this is where what we had to caution last time. As here comes Jake Nichols looking to the outside, like 2 trailer park girls. Jake Nichols going around the outside, trying to clear Van Drugman, and he will do so. But we're getting to that point, Hunter, where if you're going to do tire strategies, if you're going to implement any kind of, you know, pit strategy, whether it's 2-stop, 3-stop, what have you, we're getting to the point where those decisions have to be made.
Oh, absolutely. These guys probably already calculated that before the start of this one in case they had a yellow within the first 30 laps of the race. Nichols up to 2nd, though. That's pretty good to see for him and his team. John Forbes Jr. up to 3rd. Van Drugman down to the 4th spot. Kwame Scott tucked in 5th. I mean, we got a group of guys there tucked on the bottom lane of the racetrack. Except for David Weishart, who has now cracked the top 10. He's finally gone around Dylan Alt, so the 29 car is up 31 spots since the start of this race.
Which is absolutely just ridiculous to say. In only 47 laps with only, 2 cautions or so. And here's John Forbes running that kind of different line that I spoke of earlier, where you enter low and then just perpetually drift up the track. It's kind of a Homestead specialty. You really don't see it anywhere else. But there's Jake Nichols in 2nd, but looks like Forbes trying to work on that as Marin starting to find some separation between him and the rest of the field. I did see some 3 wide way back yonder. This is about 31st, 32nd. There's Rocky Boyd. There is Ryan Swan in our Blue Tip Pool Builders car. And the Alaskan Assassin, I guess he's melting here today. He's back there in 32nd.
Yeah, he was a couple laps down at some point throughout this race, but I think with the quick yellows, he was able to get back on the lead lap and able to get around Ryan Swan in the 20, find a hill-handling race car there. Oh. He'll be able to, and it's Hogak really low on next to the 4, but Swan will be able to get a better feel for his truck tomorrow at Homestead. I think it'll be under the lights. I might be wrong in that.
We are all day races this week, according to the boss man.
All right, good enough for me. David Weishart now fine to hang on inside the top 10. Staying on that outside lane, Dylan Alt going on the inside, and he will clear him, but Weishart, well, I thought he'd go low to cross him over, but he's just going to keep his line and stay on the outside lane going into one.
You can see now it's becoming more populous up there. You can see that darkened groove to the inside, which usually means the inside is getting hot, it's getting rubbery, it's getting slicker, and that usually starts to give the top more of an advantage. But interestingly, nobody running the middle lane here at Miami. Again, 19 degrees of banking there in the middle. Strategy I used to employ here at Miami was kind of running right on those seams in between the lanes, because that kind of acts as almost taking some wedge out of the car, can help the car turn better if it's a little tight, running on those banking transitions there. But there's Scioli looking to the inside. Maybe Weishart, well, he just put it in the fence. All the work he had to do to those tires to get him up there, I think maybe he used the best of them there. And he'll be waiting for that pit stop, which I don't know when it's going to come. Fuel run probably about 55 laps, 50-something laps, or in that ballpark. But tire life, I mean, you could pit really any time now.
Yeah, I'd say around 40 laps in a run, we might see some guys come down pit road and try to do a different strategy. Really want to try and work it through maybe around halfway, and then split the difference between that, pit about 35 laps after the halfway run. And here's a guy that we haven't mentioned about today, Connor Horn in the 67 car for 609 Motorsports. Hasn't really, I mean, he's kept it out of harm's way, but actually, I say that, he's up 21 spots also since the start of this race. So, again, quiet, under the radar, but still working his way through the field.
Absolutely, and at this point, just trying to evade any sort of issues. There's Beckner there, who's, I think he was late, low 20s. Now he's higher 20s. You can see a little bit of damage there to the right front. Maybe that's just from scraping the fence. What do we got going on up front? Jeremy Miller on his Alicia Keys tour, because he keeps on falling here. Was second, actually was the leader. Then lost the lead. Now he's in the realm to go back to sixth.
Car spun hard.
Yes.
That thing swung to the 0-0. Yellow is out. He hit hard coming out of turn 4. And that's going to bring out our third yellow of the night.
Yeah, that is terminal damage there. And interestingly, second time, Hunter, that the caution is going to come out right when, strategies were going to be employed for pit stops. So that will kind of just tidy things up there. But yeah, he did exactly. Remember what I was saying? Running the seam, it can loosen the car up. Well, that's exactly what happened to him. He was straddling right on that seam. As you can see, someone had a look to his inside there. That was a 17 of Cabot, but right on that seam, right on that 18, 19 degree banking seam, hooked right in front of the field.
Yeah, just an overcorrect. Nothing that he could do. It's just a little loose. Thought just a little jerk to the right would help it, and it put him into the outside wall. And he was on the fringes of the top 10. He was about in the 13th position, I want to say, 13th, 14th. He was having a solid night, but unfortunately that night will come to an end as the third yellow flies here from Homestead, Miami. We'll see some more guys come down pit road. Sebastian Marin going to lead the field down. We'll assume everybody would come in and take 4 tires. Don't think we'll see anyone try to do 2 tires just yet, but it's always in the forefront of the mind of guys that are running right around 10th or maybe outside the top 10 just to try to gain some track position.
This puts us at a difficult point, Hunter. 90 laps, 2 sets of tires. So, I mean, basically you have one more required pit stop and 1 strategy set. That's what I like to say in this instance. So we'll see what happens here. This camera will show us what's going on. You can see really far back of the shot. That's Weishart. And 4 tires going on. Last time Marin lost a spot in the pits. I think he had enough of a gap he could probably sustain right there. We actually have some shared pit stalls going on. Don't see that too often. You're not driving. Connor Horn and Marin using the same pit stall, but let's see what happens on exit. And Marin will retain. Except Justin Anasogak drove through his pit stall, went in the pits, but didn't actually stop. Therefore, he is registered as the leader, so I assume he's going to come in. But that would just be an assumption.
You did that just to lead a lap.
Well, did it work? Didn't work. At least we get to see
pit
that.
box is past the. If it's past the start finish line, it'll work.
There he comes. Well, I don't think it'll work now because now Marin and company is going to drive on by. And that old, what was it, 2002? I know it before your life, Hunter, but the All-Star race where Jeff Burton's crew chief, you had to make a pit stop before the end of the segment. Jeff Burton's pit stop was right before the start-finish line, so he actually made his pit stop on the last lap, drove through the pits, and then took the checkered flag that way. That was a cool little moment, just reminded me of that. But this will be 1 to green. We'll say here in New England, we're going to be pushing 70 degrees here this coming week, which is rather warm, which makes me wish that I had a pool, which is a perfect segue into Blue Tip Pool Builders. They can bring a party and bring some life to your summer, to your house this summer. They can have some cool designs. They have skilled craftsmen, high cutting-edge technology to bring your pool to life. If you don't have room, they can also make your outdoor space look all nice and tidied up and have some cool things to give your outdoor space that fun and spice it needs. BlueTipPools.com.
That was about accurate. I will say, though, I was alive for that, but I was maybe 1 year old with the Jeff Byrne All-Star thing. But, yeah, I was a 2000 baby, but I don't recall much. I do recall this restart going A-OK with Marin leading the way in the number 66. Yeah, everybody goes through A-OK. John Forbes Jr. got the big jump to second off the pit road, but Jake Nichols will try to take that spot away through 1 and 2.
Now coming through turn number 2 here, and Marin got himself the whole shot, which is what he would desire. He was out to about 0.7 of a second lead before that caution and looking to get as much of that back as possible here. Driving off into the distance. Kwame Scott all the way up there by the fence. Now, usually the fence is where we see them running maybe 10, 15 laps in, but no, let's rip it right off the bat here. Kwame down to the inside of Jake Nichols, diving on in. Now, something happened there, Hunter, to David Weishart. Remember, he was 10th and now finds himself all the way back in 20th. So that pit cycle did not go for him. All that work, he's going to have to redo a good portion of it.
Yeah, he'll find his way back on the outside as well. Right around here, Seth Knoll, haven't talked about him too much today. He's cracked the top 10. He's 3 wide on the bottom. Well, it was 3 wide, but he's door-to-door now with Gavin Rogers in the 75 machine. Dylan Alt has made his way up to 9th. The Philip Groner machine down to 10th. About to make it 11th. The Scioli's trying to work his way on the outside lane, but more guys coming to the front.
See that good 2-3 wide race in there. Someone that Adre Stravato there with a big power move there on corner exit, trying to make something happen. But here comes Kwame up to P2, driving underneath John Forbes, and he will clear. A little bit of a wiggle. Will Forbes just take it, or will he try to cross back up? Gives him a tap, drives to the inside. Will he do a Homestead diver? I don't think that's in the cards. There's enough grip that inside may work, but got too tight, had to leave the space. Give P2 to that number 36.
Yeah, now he'll have his eyes set for the lead as one car went all the way down to the apron. Green car, couldn't quite tell who it was. It might have been Connor Horn in the 67. Might have been him, but he's on the fringes of that top 15. He's right around the 20th position. I want to say he's probably 19th. Travis Beckner right behind him going into turn 1. Actually going to go to his outside. No check it up for Beckner. Just going to carry his momentum all the way outside. And there's Patrick Moose in the 45. He's kind of been fading a little bit. Just trying to stay inside the top 20 at the moment.
Now the Moose there in that number 45 card, trying to see what he can do, running right there in the middle. You can see Weishart going right up to the fence here at Miami. And this track, a staple built in 1995, was actually a miniature rectangle, a little miniature Indianapolis.
Whoa, what is going on there? Car to the inside wall. Couldn't quite tell who that was. It happened so fast, but the yellow is out. It's not even Swank. It was Dylan Alt in the 47.
Yeah. Every time I try to get into a story, these guys decide, no, you're not telling stories, so we're calling our wreck. But oh my goodness. I think he was not clear. We'll get one more shot of that, and that is a cataclysmic hit to that inside wall, if I've ever said that before.
I was going to say, it looked like his car was bouncing. I didn't want to say for sure, but it almost looked like a glitch with how fast that happened, but he's trying to clear off the corner. The 75 of Gavin Rogers still had the momentum, and just an absolutely hellacious sledgehammer hit to the inside wall. His night is done.
Yep, I remember he won the Daytona preseason shootout and then was running quite well. He ended up winning his duel, and we thought he was going to go for the Daytona sweep. Didn't end that way, and now race 2 also going to go a sour way for Dylan Alt. And we are 8 laps in there, Hunter, so this would not be a window where you're going to see tire changes. You just can't risk it. I don't know if topping off for any of the field is going to have any benefit, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple do it back in the field.
Yeah, I would assume we'd see some guys come in, try to top off, especially if you're in the back. You might as well. Don't really got much to lose, so first half of the field we probably won't see come down, but I think Travis Beckner's the first. No, Travis faked it. There are some guys that are going down the pit road, though.
A couple in the back of the field, as we kind of expected. Maybe 30th on back coming in, and again, we would imagine just for fuel, because again, you don't want to put that third set on. There's David Weishart. Again, he drove himself up to 10th. That pit cycle restart sequence back to the 20s, and now I think maybe he has said, well, I may as well go off strategy at this point. Maybe he doesn't know if he can drive through the field the way he did. Going off strategy here, it'll put him back to 30th, so basically just put him back where he started, so to speak.
Yeah, he's probably banking on a long green flag run to kind of help him out there, so we'll have to see what takes place for that number 29 car after that, but still Sebastian Merritt up front, Kwame Scott in second, John Forbes Jr. in third, Jake Nichols in the fourth position, and Jeremy Miller having a very strong day in the number 30 in the top 5.
I can see here from this angle, well, of course it switches as soon as I say that. There are a lot of marbles forming. I think I can go back to that one if I'm not mistaken. Where was it? It was turn 4 exit. Oh, there we go. This is a good one. Look at all those marbles down there to the inside lane. Now, as they even run through the inside, those marbles are forming, and they do actually have a tangible impact on the grip. So that may make running the inside lane less desirable for these drivers, knowing how dirty it is down there.
Yeah, it is going to play a factor into in case anyone gets put down there or gets a little loose down there. We usually see them on the outer groove. I mean, we'll kind of see that when we go to Bristol, the marbling on the outside lane, but it's got to go somewhere. In Homestead, they run every lane that you can possibly think of except for the aprons, so that is where it resides.
Absolutely. Here as we will get ourselves ready for another restart, and we'll just again, our league sponsors, a lot of partners here with the Area Cup Series and the Area League as a whole. So I'll run through a little sponsor loop on the bottom of the display. They are all in the description, so you can check them out and help our partners out here with Area. But let's go just shy of halfway. Sebastian Merritt up front with Kwame Scott in second, highest he's been on the day, and not a good restart for him. A little bit sideways, gives Merritt the whole shot. More importantly, is everyone firing off? It appears as such.
Well, Causey in the 88 there, having a good run up the middle. He's inside the top 10 now. Haven't talked too much of him, but when it matters most, he is up front. He's got Liam Sheen behind him, who is also cracking the top 10. Skyler in the 7 0 to the inside. Still trying to get his name inside the top 10 today.
Nearly 4 wide for a second there. I saw Causey. I think it was Scioli and Sheen, who is the highest he's been. Remember, I was talking about him mid-20s, so obviously the comers and goers, and that was Travis Beckner into the turn one wall there, and it didn't slow him down. Look at him ripping the fence.
Gosh, he's going to be top of 4, coming out of 2. Might have had to back off there a little bit, or might have tapped the wall, but nonetheless, Travis Beckner making his way towards the front. He's trying to crack the top 15, that being held by Drew Jua, now Cole Hooper in the number 99 car there, but Beckner trying to navigate some rhythm in his favor to the front.
Yeah, he just drove on that outside. Like everyone was standing still, gained a few spots, but now has stagnated. Connor Horn trying to follow behind. Patrick Moose just a little bit further back there. And oh no, going around Liam Sheen.
That might bring out another yellow.
And it will. Liam Sheen down there to the inside of the racetrack. And I'll say in years past, that wouldn't cause a caution, but Barney the flagman has been retrained and get one more look. I mean, it was pretty clear as day, but we'll get one more look. And a fabulous job by Liam to, I mean, maybe he got a whisper of impact to the inside wall, but not much at all. So I don't, he was loose, but obviously Groner being there, I think it was kind of a meet in the middle situation, but hard to tell.
Yeah, I want to say there was a car that was outside as well, and he was trying to fine line of leaving room between himself and the outside car, and then the inside car, and just wasn't enough. And around he went, and he did not touch the wall. He, like you said, he might have just whispered towards it, but that's going to bring another yellow out, and we'll have to see what happens here. I'm not sure if anyone's going to come down pit road. It was a very quick stint. I think everybody's just going to drive on through as we're... Whoa.
Couple takers. Up front, Jake Nichols, Kwame Scott. Now, this is, again, 2 sets of tires left on the wall. We're halfway. Do you want to put one on now? Are the jacks going up? No, fuel only, which is what I expected. For the drivers in the pits right now. And Jake Nichols coming out of the pits right now. What was his pit time? Because I don't know if our timer is updating appropriately. 5 seconds, so that is fuel only. Probably puts him into a one-stop race, I imagine. I don't know if everybody else is in a one-stop race. We'll say admin on the back end saying that was basically a racing deal, which is kind of what we called it. It was a lot of aero going on and just a lot of tight racing and kind of just a meet-in-the-middle situation.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
But again, we want to kind of gone through a lot of them. Again, they're scrolling through on the bottom of your display, but you can always, if you like your food a little bit spiced up, you could check out rickshotsauce.com for the best sauces in South Florida. There's the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. And you can check out to see which of our rookies will get that $100 prize for the Cup Series Rookie of the Year, brought to you by Rick's Hot Sauce. A little tap to the back there, 70 back to Marin. I'm assuming in good taste, or are they saying, all right, let's go, let's do this?
Oh, I mean, we are halfway through. Don't want to make any enemies at the halfway point of the race. There's still a lot of time left, a lot that can happen. So we'll see what happens on this next restart. But it's going to be Van Drugman on the outside, Sebastian Marin again. This is kind of looking like the Pro Series at Daytona. Can anyone stop that 66 car of Sebastian Marin? John Forbes Jr. in third. Seth Nolly's climbed up to fourth. Gavin Rogers is in fifth, and James Skiley has moved up to sixth. So the restart's about to happen. Pace car going to make the hard left turn on the pit road. We are past halfway, and Marin will lead the field back to green here at Homestead.
Absolutely. Green flag in the air. Again, we got some of our faster guys in the back of the field. We had some guys deciding to top off for fuel, and how will they work through the field? And we'll have to find that out here. But heading off into 1 and 2, you can see we're already spreading out here at Miami off of the corner, 2-3 wide. Look at that dark green and blue car in the back. Jake Nichols, he was in the top 5, back in the mid-20s now.
Indeed. So we're looking through the 96 of Drew Jewett. He's up to 6th. This is about the highest that he's been all race. Skyoli getting a bunk draft from Cole Hooper down the front stretch into turn 1. But Jewett still looking at an outside. Hooper's now going to be 3 wide because here comes the 28 of Travis Spector trying to climb inside the top 10.
Now ripping that inside of the racetrack. Beckner was just ripping the inside. Now he does the complete extreme and goes right down to the bottom again through that marbled lane. It doesn't appear that those marbles are bothering drivers too much. I'm sure they hear them kick it up in the wheel wells, but don't seem to be affecting the handling too much at this juncture. Some tight nose racing going on. Gavin Rogers, Seth Knoll there. And then let's go 3 wide. Douglas Newbigging. Have we talked about him today? I don't believe so. Washing up, trying to keep it off of Adam Cabot there as Drew Jewett to the top, ripping the fence.
Yeah, Newbigging took last season off, didn't have the time to do so. So back in season 8 and back inside the top 10 in the 8th position, trying to find his way around the 17. And that's a teammate in the number 7 of James Scioli. So Lucky Ducks having a pretty good run inside the top 10 at the moment.
Doing a great job here in that 8th spot. A lot of comers and goers as we speak, but someone who has not really went or gone anywhere. He has remained first or second. That is Sebastian Marin, who last week obviously had a great running. Absolutely just smacked the field in the Florida State Builders Pro Series at Daytona. Led over half of the race and was just a absolute beast with maintaining momentum on those lanes. But taking it here in Florida, which basically a home track for him, being a Puerto Rican native. I mean, this is as close to Puerto Rico as you're going to get here in the oval world. And trying to make the hometown fans proud.
I would like to make a correction. Skyholey's not a part of the Lucky Ducks stable in the Cup Series. For the Pro Series, he is. You'll actually find the 70 of John Forbes Jr. and the 71 Douglas Newbigging inside the top 10 for Lucky Ducks, also with Josh Cottle and the 24 of Michael Curran, which is he even in the field tonight? I don't think we've talked about him once.
Curran, he's here. P20.
P20, all right. So he has not had the race he's wanted. He's dropped since the start of this one, and like I said, well, I mean, he's kept it clean.
But he is, as a perfect segue, rocking that area swag. You can see the hat on his driver photo. You can go to shop.areairacing.com for that high-quality merch at low prices. The new updated merch from that Studio Temporary rebrand there. You can check it out. All your Adidas clothing, your hats and T-shirts, and all that fun stuff and accessories. Shop.areairacing.com. You can look as cool as Michael Curran.
And he is getting around the 30 of Jeremy Miller. And hello, Cole Hooper. Saw him have a move to the inside there. Not sure if he got loose on XF2 or not, but he is trying to get around Travis Beckner for 11th.
Beckner is back home. He's back up there on the top of the racetrack where we've seen him quite a bit here this evening. Scioli is kind of stuck with him there. Again, this is what Homestead is. It is one of those tracks where you can sort of perpetually get stuck side by side, especially if you're on the inside lane, if you can keep that side draft alive, which in this case, Skyoli will not be able to do. There goes that 28 to clear on through. And see, top of the shot, Marin has broken the bubble for almost 0.5 of a second up on John Forbes.
0.4 of a second separating Marin and John Forbes Jr. Van Drugman keeping it solid in third. Meanwhile, the 27 and the 07 here going to be duking it out for position. That is Zach Carr and Jarrett Palmedge. Want to say 13th and 14th now on the racetrack, door to door. Behind them, the 84 Jake Fisher. Have not mentioned him at all today, but we get a good look at the battle from his onboard. Part of Coast to Coast Racing, having I would say, a solid effort. He's kept it clean, and that's the thing with these guys. So we don't hear too much about him, but they're keeping their race car clean. He is down 7 spots, however, since the start of the race, but ultimately keeping that car out of harm's way in the process.
Now, this is what you like to see, Hunter. This is what drivers have been begging for in the real world at more racetracks. We're peaking at about 180 miles an hour, and look at our slow speed here, especially in traffic. Slowing down to about 133, so that's almost 50 miles an hour of variance from straightaway to corner. That's what creates this good racing, where you can make these passes with a little bit of contact, is the fact that we are actually off throttle, really having to baby these cars around this mile lap. This is what the drivers love. This is why this is a driver and fan favorite track.
Absolutely. You gotta love Homestead, and especially now that it is the season finale for NASCAR this season. So great that we have that deck. Seems like reality is becoming a normal once again, as Jake Nichols saw him come down pit road, top off on fuel. He found himself in the 23rd spot. So
I think he restarted 25th, so he hasn't gone anywhere.
They're probably going to need a green flag run to go the distance for probably the rest of the race, if I have to say, for this strategy to work in their favor. But time will tell if that was the right call or not. We will see. But he'll have to find his way back towards the front, where Sebastian Marin resides in the lead once again. John Ford Jr., Van Jongren, Seth Nolan, and Gavin Rogers round out the top 5.
Absolutely. One of the other drivers that had an issue was not an issue, but a choice to make that pit stop was Kwame Scott. He was someone who was top 2, top 3 all race. He is stuck back there in 31st right now. So again, we'd have to extrapolate out whether that stop was the right decision. And these drivers have a lot of help making these calls, a lot of teamwork. It's not just a guy making an impulsive decision. There's usually a lot of strategy to these calls, so we'll see how it comes into fruition here. But here's Van Drugman. Again, he's on his mission to go back-to-back. Forbes puts it in the fence there. That allows Van Drugman to clear. Is he the one that's going to maybe take Marin out of this dominator role here tonight?
Time will tell, but it seems like he's got a good enough car for his second. Might as well try to boost Doe on up to get to the lead. About a half second back from Sebastian Marin, though. We'll have to see in the lap times here. He did run a faster lap that last time through. This time, however, we'll see, and again, while making a pass, he's still faster than the leader, Sebastian Marin, just by a little bit. As you see there on the right side of the name, the last lap times, and looks like Seth Noel is also quicker than the leader.
Let's pull up our live battle tracker, and I'll say it was down to 4/10, and now we're back to 7/10, so Marin just all of a sudden must have heard, oh, you lost some time, and he just kicked it into metaphorical 6th gear. Let's see what it updates to, a 32 to, oh, wow. So that was a terrible lap for Van Drugman, but now that he's in clean air, he has a little bit of wiggle room behind him. Maybe he can get back into his rhythm.
Ran a low line that time, high line for Sebastian Marin, so we'll keep an eye on that as the race goes through. Meanwhile, I'm looking at some of the biggest movers of the race, and up to this point,
Caution.
we already mentioned. Oh, never mind. Yellow's out.
You're not going to have a green flag stop here today. Every time they get close, something happens, and that's Philip Groner, the number 11 in the entry of turn number 3, interestingly enough. That's not really a normal spot to have an issue. Queuing up a replay here. Just see what happened. There we go. Oh, it was Kong. He got body slammed there by somebody. Oh, 30 of Miller down into the 83, and that was kind of a sandwich issue 3 wide, essentially.
Yeah, that was
domino effect.
That was right around the 21st position.
So this is the worst case scenario for Jake Nichols, Kwame Scott, and everybody else, because this basically is a sure shot to put on that extra set of tires. So this will be set number 3. That'll give them one more with 50 to go, essentially. So that means actually, I don't know. I'm imagining they probably can run it to the end from here, but they'll have that extra set just in case they need it here as everyone's coming to the attention of their crew. See if Barron can clear, or will Van Drugman have the pit stop of champions to be able to, but he will not. But while this cycle does run through, we are going to take a brief break here, and we'll be back with you guys for the restart. So please stay with us. Let's go back to racing here in the area. Race number 2, green flag back in the air.
Run to the outside of Seth Knoll. Meanwhile, Ben Pearson of 65 going absolutely nowhere on that restart. I think he might have stayed out, actually. But he is dropping like a rock on that outside lane. And Seth Knoll will corral the second spot for the moment. Jua in third, Cabot fourth. And then fifth is going to be up for grabs at the moment. It's Newbigging
on
the outside. John Forbes Jr., we got a car sideways. It might have been Fisher in the 83. Still trying to corral it, coming back on the racetrack. Unbelievable job, but he's going to lose all that ground.
And that was a hell of a save there by that number 84, who really never gained control of the car until the last second. Let's try to figure out what happened. 4 wide off the corner. And I say elephant on a skateboard. He managed to find the balance. It just took the entirety of the front straightaway. Back to live pictures, and they're still not done tight quarters racing. 27 as that car was in the middle of a pickle there, but managed to drive through it.
Yeah, this whole running order is all jumbled up now from the staggered yellows that we've had and the different strategies that have gone with that. So some new contenders are starting to rise towards the front. Like I mentioned, Drew Jua is up to third. But yeah, Zach Carr right around the 15th area, I want to say. Cole Hooper there in the 14th position. Jeremy Miller up there. And whoa, Scott's going to get hit. Scott's going to go around
Cole
in front
Hooper.
of the field. We're piling up in turn 2 as the yellow flies from Homestead.
Big junk here. We're still technically green. There we go. That took a long time. Our overlay software thought it was a yellow, but the green flag stayed out for a long time. Trying to figure out what happened here. Kwame Scott there, loose on the top of the racetrack. And then just calamity ensued behind. So he's just loose. Cole Hooper really had nowhere to go. There's Gavin Rogers.
Oh, Logan Helton in the 63. Michael Curran in the 24.
Rocky Boyd. Jacob Bell slaloming through that. And that puts us under another yellow here today.
Yeah, nothing done to the race leader. He remains clean, remains up front. Seth Knoll, Drew Jua are the new contenders that are trying to make their way around the 66 car.
Yeah, we've just seen, obviously, earlier in the race, Jeremy Miller, who I think led maybe a few laps, if memory serves, at this point. But he lost the lead, and once he lost control of the race, really just kind of got stuck in the dirty air and never was able to work through it. Yeah, and led 9 laps. But once Sebastian, I know he made a couple really strong moves, and once he got command of the race, I mean, ultimately, that's all she wrote there. Is I think that's Bryce Senesac getting a lap back. He's the only one off the lead lap that's actively on the racetrack. Unfortunately for him, he's going to need 7 more of those to get back into contention.
Oh boy, I'm looking at this top 10. We got a whole bunch of different guys up here. We already mentioned a few of them inside the top 5. Travis Speckner has made his way up to 7th. Patrick Moose is back in the top 5 and 8th. Jared Talmadge is in 10th in the 07. Garrett Grant, up and down like a roller coaster pretty much, up to 11th now. Liam Sheen 12th, Jeremy Miller back in 13th, and then Nichols 14th and Zach Carr 15th. So some guys right around where they were, and then others are capitalizing on the opportunities of some drivers and their misfortunes, like Dylan Knowlton, Hayden Swank. They were running around, if not inside the top 10. So we got the one to go. Guys are doubled up, and they're ready to get back going.
Exactly, back to 1 to go here with we're just under the century mark here, about to hit lap number 100 here on the evening in the race number 2. Of course, we'll be live here tomorrow night for the Area Truck Series and the Free Cash 180. Be myself in the booth again with, as we call him, Dirt here, Andre with PTR TV. And then Thursday, Hunter will be back with me for the Florida State Builders Pro Series as we take another stab here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And we'll continue the 1.5 mile situation next week with the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that'll be another trifecta down there in Sin City. So what you see here, a little bit of it may apply, and maybe some of these same heavy hitters will have some good luck next week, but still have some work to justify here with 42 laps to go. Pace car will take the hard left in. Seth Knoll, first time he's been in the bridesmaid position, and what can he do with it? Into the restart box. Let's see what happens.
Well, I'll get through A-OK on that restart. Some guys are a little squirrely towards the back, but Barron controlling the way into 1. Jua trying to look underneath Knoll, but you can see the 1 just send it deep through the middle of 1 and 2. Going to get the run on exit to try and stay in front of that 96 car.
And you can see here aesthetically here as somebody all the way, I think that's Groner, was all the way down on the flat there trying to evade. Got back on the track, and again, this is the 2-3 wide racing. Everyone is up and at it here. His patience is starting to run a thin here. Drivers stuck in the back that haven't been in the back all day wanting to find their presence as we hit the century mark here. But coming on through, Sebastian Marin has the gap. Seth Noel in second. And let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, it's been like just a merry-go-round of drivers moving up and down in the second. Not sure if anyone's going to be able to try and get close enough to the 66 of Sebastian Marin, but second sure is up for grabs. Got Noel, Jua, Forbes, and Cabot are door-to-door entering one. Newbegin is in sixth. Then going up the track, seventh and eighth, Patrick Moose and James Scioli.
And Scioli and Moose there off of the corner. Nearly made contact. That was almost certain there was going to be, but luckily it did not last. John Forbes looking to the inside of Drew. Again, John Forbes has been a really second or third place car all day, but Drew really not leaving a lot of space down there, leaving just enough, but not as much as John would like, and that will allow Adam Cabot to use the outside lane here, and they're going to make a little contact entering one.
Just a slight bit of contact before going through 1 and 2. The 70 on the bottom, trying to hold on to fourth. Forbes Jr. trying to get the run on the outside lane. And Newbegin up to P6 since the start of this race. He's up 29 positions. Unbelievable effort from that 71. He's got Patrick Moose, and that is Jeremy Miller now behind. Re-entered the top 10. Scioli in 9th. And then, speaking of the top 10, that's where Travis Beckner is in the 10th spot.
He's been up and down all day, and someone who's also been up and down all day, David Weishart. Remember, he drove himself from last up to the top 10, lost the time in the pits, and then the pit strategy, and now he's basically all that hard work. You know, you got to feel for him, all that hard work, and at this juncture, it's not really going to amount to anything. But this is the best battle on the track, 30 and the 45. Again, really pinching each other down there, not using a lot of this Homestead Speedway. Oh, no contact made, but I did say upon the restart, what will Seth Noel do with Sebastian Marin? The answer is a resounding nothing. Marin all the way out there by 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, he just knows how to pick him up and put him down. Sebastian Marin just logging laps at this point. Trying to make sure. Oh, we got a wreck in the back. Cars sideways. 2 cars sideways. A lot of cars sideways. We're piling up on the back stretch.
It's 27. There's Van Drugman. Remember, he was up there all race. I could have swore I saw the 97 as well of Reese Schaefer involved. So I know you had given some stats earlier, Hunter, about how these races tend to go here at Miami. I think this one may take the caution record. We'll see, but let's take a look at the Hendry County replay.
I mean, we're well over our average of 5 yellows a race. This might be the 8th yellow of the race, but actually happened up front. Connor Horn, I want to say, got a piece of that. Jake Nichols in the 73 got a big piece of that as well.
Yeah, Van Drugman absolutely decimated somebody there. Let's go on board with Van here off of the corner. Oof, into Zach Carr. And one more look at it from Carr, because I think that may be a more declaring scenario of what happened here. 3 wide, Connor to the outside. Zach got, I don't know. They all just, I think that was about 4 drivers that all had an issue at the same time on corner exit.
Garrett Grant, Philip Groner getting a piece of that as well. We'll see what the admins have to say about that, but yellow comes out with less than 40 to go here from Homestead. Interesting time for some of these guys if they're going to make a pit stop, and especially towards the back, I'd say, make a pit stop and try to get some fresh rubber on. It'll probably be their last set of rubber to work towards the front.
Absolutely, and you know, we're 16 laps in, so this is kind of a really difficult decision. Now, there's been, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 of these laps under hard green flag conditions, so this is not the easiest call. And, you know, this is a lot of times something that we talk about, you know, in iRacing and in the racing world is how much, you know, look at the real world race yesterday. Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson making a really risky call, and it worked out. If you stay out right now, if everybody pits and puts on their last set, and then we get a caution with 10 to go, and you still have a set, you're going to feel like Superman. But if that caution doesn't come out, you know, you're done broke. Your race is over. And thus far, most drivers staying out, but that's most, and it's slowly turning into all. So nobody has faith in this running green to the end. That's basically what that just told us.
It's a pretty accurate depiction of it. Looking through here, we got some guys that have DNF'd, and actually Philip Groner's got a meatball, so that's not good. But Hayden Swig, Dylan Alt, Kwame Scott, Logan Helton, and Philip Groner at the moment, they are out of the race. Bryce Senesac still 7 laps down. He's still running in the 40th position. Van Drugman is a lap down now. This running order is really going to shape up some things in the point standings, because some of the guys that we expected to be up front tonight and were up front have collected damage. Mentioned Hayden Swank, Dylan Alt, Kwame Scott. Jake Nichols was in that wreck. He's come down to get some damage repaired. Philip Groner was inside the top 10 for a good portion of tonight's event, but with his meatball, that run will come to a close. So, again, can anyone overtake the 66 of Sebastian Mayer?
Well, it doesn't appear as such, I think, but no, in other broadcasts we've done, you think you have the winner solidified, and then it goes asunder here. But let's see what happens. Everybody has figured out the restarts. Remember, we saw a couple sketchy restarts earlier in the race. That problem has alleviated, at least for now. But let's see what happens as the field drives on through. 2-3 wide, maybe some contact, but thus far we're all golden.
Well, Seth Knoll did not have a good restart.
Beckner.
And Beckner is sideways through 3. Amazing save. That's going to lose him so much track position, but it could have been so much worse for Travis Beckner.
Well, for those of us who follow PTR TV, you are aware of something that we do here on the channel called the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race Award. And there's Beckner top of the shot, doing a fabulous job there to save that car. I'll get one more look at it. And my replay system is just being really wonky today, so I apologize, folks, but yeah, he just did a bang-up job there, did Beckner. One more look at it, because I actually want to be able to focus on it, and it's not going to work. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my back-end software. But anywho, Travis Beckner, you are going to get, my friend, the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race Award.
How did you save that car?
Well, I'm just so daggum good.
Bang up job there, keeping that thing through and keeping this thing grooving.
Yeah, but in the meantime, he lost all his track position, down to 24th now. Well, he'll have to manage with whatever he can, and will anyone manage to dethrone the 66 of Sebastian Mayer, who Drew Jua is currently 3 car lengths behind. Seth Knoll in 3rd. Recovered nicely after that poor restart in the outside lane. Cabot, Forbes Jr. top 5 remains the same, but Liam Sheen trying to crack the top 10 in that white 98.
Yeah, he had a really up and down day, did Liam Sheen. Starting in the back, working his way up, and then I know he had that issue down the back straightaway, and now he's back in the top 10. I'd love to see the post-race passing analytics to see who has come through the field the most times here today. A couple good candidates, Liam Scher being one of them here. Looking to the outside, Jarrett Talmadge there, and Jeremy Miller ripping the fence up there, and Drew Jua, 2nd place. I mean, currently, last time by, Drew even blood to Sebastian. I mean, that's not something that we've really heard tonight.
Yeah, something to definitely keep an eye on, because that 66 has been pretty much solidified as the car to beat tonight for the most part. I mean, Jeremy Miller gave him a good run early on, but other than that, no one has really taken it to the Mayer machine, as Gavin Rogers, or who is that? Yeah, that was Gavin Rogers, all the way up in the outside wall for the 1 and 2.
Gavin Rogers Again, I mean, it's kind of at this point, who hasn't had an up and down day? I know Gavin Rogers has had a couple close calls getting through traffic here today and hanging in there in the 11th spot. Gotta look through anyone we haven't spoken of today. There's a Seth Berger in the number 77 car having a battle with Josh Caudell. I think two names we really haven't spoken of here this evening, giving them their time to shine here. To the bottom of the racetrack is Anna Sogak to the outside. AJ Stravato behind, Ryan Swan, and there's Weishart just trying to salvage what he can up to about P21.
Yeah, that one yellow where he pitted for tires and a different strategy, that kind of thwarted his race because he was getting that outside lane rolling. He was inside the top 10. He was the fastest moving car on the racetrack, the highest moving car at one point. Now just trying to salvage all he can with around 25 laps to go in this race.
Which should only take about 15 minutes if the trend does continue. Going a little bit further up, well, Seth Noel has taken second, so Drew Jua, as he was matching Marin's laps, that was a short-lived statistic there. Here comes John Forbes. Again, top 5 car all race. That 70 has had some really good pace. I mean, kind of the best of the rest as... is the caution.
Well, that's going to change everything. AJ Stravato is on pit road.
Okay.
Maybe it has to do with him.
Let's see what happened to AJ. Again, he was blinking in and out, which is why I'm struggling to catch his replay here. There's Weishart. There's Beckner. He's gone. And when he came back, I think he came back right in front of Beckner.
Yeah, an unfortunate set of circumstances there. This could bring a lot of people down to pit road. Could. I'm not sure if it will.
And then they still have that extra set on the wall. It's just a matter of, do they want to use it now? And is this the best time to use it? Which I would imagine this is probably kind of the make or break. I think if you don't pit now, I don't know if you could afford to pit later. So I would assume, I think this is going to be what brings most people in.
Oh, I mean, if you're outside the top 10, I think this is a no-brainer. Well, looks like everybody inside the top 10 had that thought. Except Seth Noel.
Oh, jeepers. I don't know how I feel about that one. As I like to say, just like he's feeling like Akon because he's lonely. Well, he's not totally lonely. He does have someone to call his own. He does have, I think, a few takers behind him. Liam Sheen, Rocky Boyd, Seth Berger.
David Weishart as well on the 29.
Now, let's see where Marin shuffles out. I think it's going to be around P11 here. But I really think this is going to be the last ditch. Oh, do we even have some two-tired?
Gavin Rogers beats him off pit road. He might have taken 2.
I think he did. Let's take a look at the pit lane timing here. 9.3 seconds for Gavin Rogers. That certainly implies a two-tire stop. So we'll see where this shuffles out. Again, that leaves... So you have the top 2, 28 laps. Now, I'm not sure... that was 30-lap old tires there. You have a couple drivers who topped off. Tyler Nichols topped off last time, but basically your fresh tires are going to be 12th on back, and then if you want to say Gavin with fresh tires with 2... And we're going to have about 20 laps to go. So Sebastian Marin, for the first time today, he's going to have to pass people. But at least he's going to have a massive advantage on his hands to take care of that.
Yeah, this will definitely shake some things up. I wouldn't want to say as far as we might see a wreck that's caused because of it, but some guys have been up front today with no time. and no wherewithal to be up front. They've kind of been, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they really haven't been up front all day, so some of these guys, they might spin the tires, get bad restarts. I mean, we saw that a couple of times. In fact, the first 2 restarts of the race, saw guys get spun out and just not going properly, but we'll see here. We'll be coming up on 21 to go. Seth Knoll will be the control car this time through. Liam Sheen in second. Rocky Boyd, Seth Berger in the next row. David Weishart, Ryan Swan, Tyler Nichols, Cole Hooper, Reese Schaefer, and Ben Pierce round out the top 10 with Gavin Rogers being the first of those that pitted, but Sebastian Marin being the first with 4 tires that pitted.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting here. Green flag in the air, and I saw a little bit of a wiggle from Liam Sheen to the outside, and I think that's the worst. No, it's not. Sebastian Marin.
It's Cole Hooper getting spun around. And we are still piling up in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yep, Sebastian's race is basically over right now. We'll find out what happened.
It's just like Denny Hamlin yesterday in Martinsville. Led the most laps, but
Nothing
just was not meant to be.
Now watch that purple car on the outside lane looking high right off the get-go. 65 didn't, I mean, I have a little bit less sympathy now watching that replay.
Yeah, so he tried to go, because you can go around the outside on the restarts there. I saw the 20 of Swan up front. He tried to time that as well, and it looked like Marin was trying to do the same, and it looked like he did a good job of it here, but started checking up there, and there was just nowhere to go for Cole Hooper into Sebastian Marin, and then Jeremy Miller piles in. Saw Sogat get turned around here as well in the 69, but unfortunate for Sebastian Marin. Now this race is wide open.
As Logan getting a lap back here, and yeah, I mean, it's a complete free-for-all now. I mean, the best of the rest award, it's hard to say who really gets it. Noel hasn't been up front for too long, and look who is in P5 right now. David Weishart Raikkonen.
He did stay out. The first 9 cars have stayed out. Jujua, I believe he took 4. Yes, so he took 4. He is the highest of those with 4 tires. Gavin Rogers fell down. Actually, he didn't lose his spot at all. He stayed in 11th. John Forbes Jr., Patrick Moose, Adam Cabot, James Skiley, those are the guys with 4 fresh set of tires on. And the majority of those behind them as well, 4 tires. But the more yellows we get, the less laps they have to use them. So it's going to be beneficial, these caution laps, for those inside the top 9 that have stayed out.
And we'll see what happens here. Let's take a look here at our race recap. I don't really feel like doing a guessing game here today. 10 cautions for 29 laps. Marin, no surprise there, lead the fast time of the day. You know, I was saying off air, I thought this was going to be a quick one, but, you know, we had a couple chances where strategy could come in. You know, we're hitting that 30 lap mark of green flag action. And that was right where I'm like, all right, we might get some short pitting, but luckily no driver chose to short pit because they would have been absolutely decimated here with the amount of yellows we've had. But we'll see what happens. And who is our first fresh tire driver? It's going to be Drew Jua in 10th. And again, that implies that everybody will fire off smoothly and we don't have any further issues.
Yeah, not always a guarantee like we saw in the last restart, so will be interesting to see if this restart will go A-OK, and if so, how long will it take for Drew Jua, John Forbes Jr., Patrick Moose, Adam Cabot, Joseph Causey, those guys that pitted and have fresher tires, how long will it take for them to navigate through the chaos?
Well, It could take anywhere from 2 laps to maybe never. We'll see what happens here. Entering the restart box here from the top-down cam. We'll see if anything happens throughout the field. Any stack-ups, and are we wrecking again? Yes, we are.
Jake Nichols is in it. Patrick Moose is in it. Bryce Senesac. A lot of guys piling in. Yellow is back out once more. Those that stayed out, they are loving this. More caution laps, the better for those.
And we'll try to sort out where this one stemmed from.
It's right around Patrick Moose.
Yep, that was him. He was wiggling, and he wiggled up the track into Causey. They were stuck together. And then actually Caudell there in the 13 kind of separately got loose to the inside. Watch that number 13 to the that blue car.
I mean, the heavy hitters are getting taken out in these wrecks.
Still 27. There's the 80. Harberts has just had an awful day from the get-go. Really, none of his fault. But Seth Knoll, Liam Sheen. I mean, how many cars has he passed here today?
Probably a good bit. Jua, however, he is up to 8th, so that is a little cause of concern for Knoll and Sheen and the rest that have stayed out under the previous 2 yellows. But like I said, the more laps we waste under yellow, the better for those up front.
Absolutely. And who is the best of the tires? That is still Drew Jua. He only got up to 8th. Now, mind you, he only had about 45 seconds to play with to really do anything there, if even that much. Just fighting through the restart box into turn 1, maybe 20 seconds. I don't even know where I got 45. So, but with every little sequence we get there, Hunter, remember, heat cycles exist. And actually, I guess I don't even think we could have a heat cycle because the tires really haven't got heat in them. But you know, typically with every start-stop cycle you get, the tires lose a little grip, and with each time, that does kind of hurt those new tires.
Yeah, it's not going to be a whole lot if there is any, but still got some time to see if there will be, but that time is dwindling pretty quick.
Absolutely. Is 14 laps to go here at Homestead in Miami. We'll take the green most likely with 13. Of course, we had 43 starters. We still have 37 on the lead lap. A couple of drivers. There's Causey, there's Caudell, aggressively trying to fix whatever damage they have. We have 5 retirees, pardon me. Van Drugman, Philip Groner, Kwame Scott, Dylan Alt, and Hayden Swank. The 5 retirees, as here is the pit road repair race to get caught back up at the field as everybody else gets doubled up for the restart.
Yeah, once again, Knoll will take the inside lane. Liam Sheen has not been able to get that outside lane going at all. So I would look at that to be another key factor for those on the inside lane to have a better shot. I think Jujua is on that outside lane, so that's going to be disastrous for him. John Forbes Jr. is the other one that the second highest of those with fresh tires. He is 10th. He'll be on the outside lane as well. Adam Cabot will be restarting on the 11th, in the 11th position on the inside row. So I think he'll be in a good spot here if the 1 can get going and if the 98 does not go.
Absolutely. If that 98 doesn't go, we know that outside lane has struggled here, and we've seen about 3 restarts, if not more than that, struggle with wheel spin. We haven't gone off the last 2. I don't even think into turn number 1 here through the restart box. We're up to initial fire pretty well, but can we make it into turn number 1? No.
We are piling up once again. Liam Sheen, Ryan Swan, Drew Jua in it. Senesac spinning again. Another calamity, chaotic wreck going into turn 1. And once again, we do not make it to turn 1. I don't even know what this running order is anymore. I really don't.
Now, we were joking about an all-star race earlier, Hunter, and again, I think you were 1 for this one. 2001, they all went into turn 1, and DW said, the track is wet. I mean, it literally feels like the track is wet, how little we could get up to speed right now. There's just another wiggle.
Wow.
And
holy
that's the field.
Cow. That is so many cars. I mean, so many. Well, I'm going to sound like DW. It's easier to say who wasn't in the wreck than who was.
I mean, I guess if there is any silver lining to any of this, it's that these wrecks are at such a slow speed that I guess you could say that there's not a ton of damage done at those slow of speeds. But that's, I guess, if that's the only silver lining you can muster here. So we are not on 1 to go. I don't know why our system is trying to insinuate that we're on 1 to go, but we are not. Seth Noel.
The system wants this race to be over with.
Yeah. Seth Noel is our leader. Rocky Boyd. David Weishart, again, the biggest up and down race of anybody here today, currently running in 3rd.
Yeah, he's in 3rd. Schaefer's in 4th. Tyler Nichols is in 5th. Adam Cabot, I believe, is the highest of those with better tires. He's in 6th. 7th is Gavin Rogers. Jarrett Talmadge is in 8th. Connor Horn 9th. Travis Beckner 10th, but he pretty much Dukes of Hazzard his way through. He got some damage in that, but I mean, it's still anyone's race. It's so wide open. It could be anyone inside this top 10 or so that has a shot to win.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, can we just fire off? Can we get through and actually get through the first lap? Give these drivers a chance to get up to speed. I mean, that's what we're really working for right now. And I think 3 restarts in a row. I don't even think we've made it to turn 1 here, but we are going to get doubled up, stacked up. Try to go and do this one more time.
Indeed, as there you see all that is left of the field. Well, some of them are still going through 3 and 4, but it's starting to dwindle, to say the least. That's a guarantee at the moment. But Seth Noel, once again, he's in a pretty good spot on this restart. He'll be restart on the inside. Rocky Boyd will now restart as the first car on the outside lane. So that's going to be challenging for him. Outside lane has not been going. It's been the trouble spot for the past few restarts. David Weissart is in 2nd on the inside lane. He'll restart 3rd, Reese Schaefer 4th. And then you got to look at Adam Cabot, the 17 car on the outside lane. First car with 4 tires.
We'll see if he can work through it. We'll try it a 3rd time. Can we actually get rolling here on the restart, firing off into turn 1? This is the farthest we've made it in about 2 opportunities here. 3 opportunities into turn 1 and 2. Looks like we're actually going to get rolling for a restart.
And now it's out for 3rd between Weishart and Reese Schaefer. We got spinning. We got cars wrecking. The yellow is back out. Seth Noel enjoying this a lot more than those guys in the back.
Well, Hunter, this wasn't on my bingo card here today. Oh, that was the boss man, too. Jacob Bell into the 83, and there's Liam Sheen.
Oh.
Just thought he was going to win this race for a moment in time, and that has since no longer lasted.
Oh, there was Jake Nichols. But, yep, they made contact, and then Bell gets Wild Patel by the 98 of Liam Sheen. I mean, ultimate calamity in this run. I mean, I thought we had our fair share of yellows in the first half, but the amount of wrecking we've had in the second half is, if not just as bad, if not worse, a lot more calamity. Adam Cabot is now up to 5th, the highest of those with somewhat fresher tires, I should say, because we've had so many yellows. They're not probably not that fresh anymore. It's still fresher than the top 4. Tyler Nichols as well. Jared Talmadge is in 7th. Gavin Rogers in 8th. He took 2. Connor Horn in 9th. And then Cole Hooper, he wrecked a few restarts ago, and he's back inside the top 10 already.
Yeah, it's been, and he has a significant amount of front-end damage. I mean, that's the kind of damage we saw at Daytona last week with these drivers bump drafting all race. Now, let's take a look at the weather. As you can see, Beckner, the damage he has. Our track temp is down 22 degrees from the start. Remember, we were in about the mid-120s there. We are down in 20 degrees. 107 is still a toasty track temp, but we certainly have a lot more grip to play with than we did prior. We'll be ready for 5 laps to go, and we do have overtimes available if we need them, which if I'm a betting man there, Hunter, I think we may need 1 or 2 of them at the current rate, but I'd love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, not sure if we'll really need them, but I would hope we don't need them. Kind of want to see this play out as organically as it can.
Yeah, I would love to, and we will we'll see how the cookie crumbles here. Not a sponsor. I do like a crumble cookie. I just don't want to spend $6 one at a time, but we'll see what happens. Again, if you're just joining us in late, Sebastian Marin was the dominator on the race. The strategy decision put him in the back. He kind of forced something to the top. The gap wasn't there, caused a wreck, and now he has just gone a sour since then. And about the last 15 laps, I don't think we've really gotten going. We've had so many issues on the restarts. Everyone's stacked up. We do have a lot of tire strategies. We'll show some of those on our ticker. You can see the stint situation for everyone. Seth Noel running this thing pretty dry, but with as many fuel laps saved under caution, I don't think he'll have any issues, but we are on 1 to go.
Yeah, we'll go green with 5 to go this time through. Seth Knoll, 45 laps since he last pitted. That is a long time, especially with all the yellows. I mean, fuel, it'll probably be good. Don't need to worry about that. It's just tires. Compared to everybody else, that's going to be the main concern. Again, Rocky Boy going to restart on the outside lane. He really didn't get firing off well. Neither did David Weishart on the inside. But the good thing for Adam Cabot, he will find himself 3rd on the inside lane.
I don't know what's Marin doing down there to the inside, but either way, this is the restart. Sebastian is a lap down, but either way, we're back to racing. Couple black flags on the board, Adam Cabot and David Weishart. Not sure if those will get cleared or what they're for, but they are on the board.
Well, if they don't get cleared, that's huge because Cabot's the first one with fresh tires, and looks like Weishart was cleared. Oh, we're wrecking in the back.
Max
Yellow's going to come back out.
Liam Sheen.
We're going to have a green-white checker.
Isn't Bristol later in the season, Hunter?
It is, but even Bristol is, I would say Phoenix is probably the closest comparison to this, where we haven't had much green flag racing. We just keep on wrecking. Now, how did this wreck start?
Liam Sheen into the 81 there off of turn 2. We'll get a tighter shot of it. That's Max Service. And this will put us into overtime. Or just green-white checker, because, if you're a Mark Martin fan, Mark Martin does not like overtime because we're not a stick and ball sport. It's green-white checker, which means this race will go into extended distance past 140. Seth Noel and David Weishart. What story would it be if that 29 puts it in victory circle? And he does have 16-lap better tires, I do believe, than Seth Noel.
I'm not sure because he'll be restarting on the outside lane. He can definitely pull a top 10 out if he doesn't get caught up in any calamity. But to win, it's going to be a stretch because he'll have to rely on the one to not really go. And he did get a black flag on the last restart, him and Cabot. I'm not sure what caused it or what happened for it to be a thing, but he got his cleared, and I think Cabot got his cleared as the wreck was happening. So I don't think they'll have to serve any penalty whatsoever.
Yeah, those black flags were cleared from up top. Again, we don't necessarily know what they were for, but they were administered. Maybe it was something to do with jumping the restart. It is sometimes a little finicky, but I guess put your bets, folks. I mean, it's been a very chaotic race. Well, let's back up a little bit. We had about a good 230 some odd lap green flag runs. We were right at the cusp of maybe green flag stop starting, and I'd say once the halfway point of this race hit, the bottom just fell off, and I think this is our 12th or 13th caution to the point where our tracker is actually broken, so I can't reference that, but we are in double digits here in cautions. Of course, tomorrow night's race will be in the truck series. How will that be? I know a lot of drivers are having issues with the truck handling, so hopefully we don't have similar stature. But it is a day race, so it's going to be another hot, slick track, as it will be Tuesday, as it will be Thursday.
That's just going to make for some great racing. Hopefully we get to see some more of that and not a yellow fest like we're seeing in the last 30 laps of this event. But it's almost over. If they can make it to the white this time through, they'll be fine. Just got to cross your fingers and hope that hope for the best, I guess.
Absolutely. We say it all the time. If we make it to the white, we'll finish the checkers under green. If we don't make it to the white, we'll rack them and stack them, and we'll try once more. And based on the current trajectory, Hunter, it's a flip of a coin if we're going to get off the line, because everyone's going to want to put that extra 2 or 3% down on the gas pedal for that run, and that could be the difference between a spin.
Absolutely. We're going to have a green-white checker this time through, the first of 3. Seth Knoll is going to lead the field back to the green flag. David Weishart on the outside lane. See if anyone gets going, and if anyone does not, it looks like Weishart's going to stack them up. Knoll trying to drive away from it all.
And thus far, we are okay enough carrying off into the corner. Noel with that lead, and watch out for Rocky Boyd to the inside. This is music to Seth Knoll's ears, because if they're battling, that's less attention on him.
Really close for second in between 3 and 4. They're about dead even coming off turn 4 for second. But Seth Knoll in the 1 sees that white flag waving. He's going to get to it. We're going to get this race in. One more lap from Homestead, Miami.
Our shop.area iRacing.com white flag in the air, and David Weishart probably not going to get himself a win here today, but a valiant effort to recover in the manner that he did. But Seth Knoll in that number 1, we're wrecking in the back. That's Garrett Grant. That's Liam Sheen again, but that's not going to affect the outcome of this race. Sometimes it's good to be lucky. Sometimes it's good to be good. If you can mix the two of them together, it's going to result in what we see here. Coming off turn number 4, Seth Knoll wins at Miami.
Wow. I can't believe we actually got that through from the first green-white checker attempt. Rocky Boyd in second, David Weishart in third, Cabot fourth, Reese Schaefer fifth. Unbelievable day for David Weishart. I mean, I did say it was going to take about a miracle for it to go back in his favor. He was just trying to salvage a top 20, and then he stayed out. The wrecks started happening, and him, Rocky Boyd, Seth Knoll, they all came away with podium finishes, but Seth got the best of them all. He wins at Homestead, Miami. First win of the season for that one.
Absolutely. What was his final tally on the laps led 24, and I'm pretty sure those were the back end of the race, obviously, once all of the follies took place. But he's going to go burn it down here on the front straightaway, presumably, and enjoy what he accomplished here at Miami. And while he does that, let's go and give you the final rundown of results here today from Homestead. Final margin of victory ends up being 3/4 of a second over Rocky Boyd. Seth Noel with the win. David Weishart with the third. Adam Cabot with the fourth. Reese Schaefer, haven't talked about him all day. He runs in the top 5. There's Connor Horde Jarrett Tallmed, Douglas Newbigging, Tyler Nichols, and Cole Hooper. That's not the top 10 I predicted earlier.
No, and Cole Hooper wrecked in one of those restarts and was able to make his way back to the top 10. That just shows how chaotic this last 20 laps of the race was. Gavin Rogers in 11th, Cottle 12th, Forbes Jr. in 13th. Scioli and Fisher round out the top 15 with Harbert, Speckner, Curran, Seth Berger, and Frankie Barroso rounding out the top 20.
All right, we'll let the rest of the field scroll on by here. Again, some notable names there. Jake Nichols, Jeremy Miller. They were up there earlier in the race. Patrick Moose had a good run, not all for naught. And there's Sebastian Marin, the driver who led the most laps. 36 is where he's going to end. Van Drugman, he was competitive. Kwame Scott. And then the DNQs there towards the back of the grid. But let's head down to Victory Circle here. Hopefully these drivers are already queued up for us. And they are. Hunter with our race winner, Seth Knoll.
Yeah, down here with Seth Knoll in Victory Lane. You get your first win of the season, albeit took a strategy call to go your way and then some. What was the thought process there in staying out? Because that was ultimately the one that decided the race. Because if not, if you pit it with the rest of the cars that did so, you probably would have been in one of those wrecks.
Just based on the aggression level I saw in the mid-pack, just with the the old tires, I had a feeling that exactly what would happen, where people would just wreck on restarts over and over and over, or someone would try and throw it in a hole that's not there, or someone would get griefed in turn 1 and cell spin. Like, just how the race had played out to that point where we just had a yellow every 20 to 30 laps, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, like we were racing at Martinsville. And for us, thankfully it worked out. Sucks that the best car tonight probably just got flat out destroyed, but that's how it plays out sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously restarted not in the lead in the beginning portion of the race, but how much of a difference was it being the leader restarting the race compared to being somewhere in the third or fourth row or behind the field? Because we saw that the leader could go, but the car on the outside lane really couldn't go. It didn't matter at one point in the race it was. They just could not go.
It was just more so having control over your destiny of the corner, like where the air is. Like when I started 7th, so I just kind of chilled at the start, just expecting everyone to overdrive, and then we would go long run. And we just never got that long run. But when you're the leader, you just have so much more control over what you're doing and the lines you're able to take that you can just kind of run your pace and try and pull away.
All right, well, we got the first win of the season for Solar Flare Racing, and he'll have a great points day after it. Seth Knoll getting the job done here at Homestead. Congrats, Seth.
Thanks, Hunter.
All right, and now second place on the day, Rocky Boyd. We'll grab him on in here. Well, Rocky, a chaotic day here from Miami. I mean, the stat sheet looks pretty cool for you. Started 38th, you finished second. Obviously, a lot came into that result. I mean, what was that chaotic race from that 16 perspective?
Yeah, I mean, rather be lucky than good. I'll always say that. And we really worked good today. We qualified bad, had an EOL from issues at Daytona late, and just didn't look like it was going to be a good run. So we rolled the dice and got lucky, got really fortunate with how that played out.
Absolutely, avoiding a lot of the carnage and the strategy calls. I mean, the first half of the race, pretty clean. I know we were kind of on the cusp of maybe when some, green flag strategy pit stops could happen. And then the track temp went down, and that's when the race kind of fell out. Did you notice something? Was it just the aggression level? Was it the handling? What do you think kind of set the grenade off in the second half?
Well, we had the same issue all race where guys were just going too hard at the start of the run, and then instead of paying the price at the end of the run when they were falling off, somebody would just spin out and we'd get a caution, and all those guys were getting saved by cautions being super aggressive. We've never really had a run go past 30 laps, so the moment that the guys at the back realized we weren't going to get to race, everybody from 40th to the lead just all were going full send. And when you're having 40 guys push it as hard as they can versus 15 of them, then you're going to lead to wrecks, and then it's halfway through the race and guys who have top 10 speed are running 35th. So just the aggression was heating up. track temp was getting colder, so we all had more grip and just led to restart after restart.
Absolutely. Well, next week we head to another 1.5 miles. That's probably going to be of similar track temp in Las Vegas. I mean, you're lucky here today at Homestead. Are you going to be lucky or good next week at Vegas?
Well, hopefully we're good with some luck. I mean, we got second here tonight. Maybe we'll run top 10 on speed at Vegas and get lucky and win, but I'd always rather be lucky, but it would be fun to be good for once.
All right. Well, that's the best place to be lucky is in Vegas, man. Well, congrats on rounding yourself out and getting yourself a podium, and we'll see you later in the week, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
And now wrapping things up, I would say the guy who went up and down the field more than anybody here today, that's going to be Weishart with Hunter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Up 41 spots from the drop of the green flag, David. I'm not sure how you did it because it seemed like early on you had the car to beat. You were able to drive your way to the top 10, and then that one pit call strategy didn't quite work out for you, and you were kind of back around 20 to 25th. Take me through that first one where you pitted and just weren't able to get as much track position as you could in the beginning.
Well, there at the beginning of the race, well, first off, I qualified bad on purpose. That was a purposeful thing to start back there. I was really uncomfortable with this car. I didn't want to be racing too hard early, and I don't know, they were all checked up on the bottom, and they were running really slow, and nobody was running the top, so I was like, screw it, I'll just go run the top. Got me some good track position, and then, I don't know, after the first set of tires, the top just like completely went away the way I was running it. It had like no grip. It was really tight in, really loose off, and I got shuffled to the back, tried some alternate strategy there, and just always on the wrong side of it until the very end there.
Yeah, take me through that second part, the strategy where you were on the right side, staying out and being a part of the field that made it through, and actually all three cars that stayed out finished inside the podium. Take me through that decision.
Well, there wasn't really a decision to make there at the end. I didn't have any tires left, so me and Ryan Swan were like, well, we're just going to see what we can do. We thought we were screwed, and that was our only hope, was a bunch of yellows. I'm not the best on the restarts. I was able to pick a couple up on the restart, and there at the very end, I think, the worst racer on the sim, restarting in second place there. And I don't know, the guys with the tires, I don't know if they just all wrecked or if there was too many cycles and everything equalized, but I had plenty of grip there at the end, just got real greedy at the end. Picked up the gas too early, it got tight, and fun racing with Rocky there. I love racing guys that race clean. I'm so pumped, my heart's racing. This is my first podium, my first Cup podium since my last win, I think in like season 5 in New Hampshire, so I needed it real bad, so I'm happy to come out with that for me personally and for the team.
Well, it came at the right time, too. I mean, I was looking at the points, waiting for it to update. You were tied for dead last in the point standings, but after your podium tonight, you move up 22 spots in the standings to 20th, where you are less than 10 points outside of the top 16 cutoff. So, solid podium finish for David Weishart tonight. Congrats, David.
All right, thank you, Hunter.
All right, well, that'll wrap things up here today from Homestead, Miami, a race that it just had everything, Andre. That's really the only way we could wrap this thing up. We had some good green flag runs, and then we just had utter calamity. And ultimately, not a surprise at the end of the day, Seth Knoll gets himself a win.
Yeah, I mean, it really did have everything. The dominant car, unfortunately, did not win. We had guys that stayed out that the strategy worked. The way that it worked probably would not have worked if that was real life, but nonetheless, they were able to capitalize on it, that being Seth Knoll, Rocky Boyd, David Weishart, Reese Schaefer as well. There were probably, Tyler Nichols also. He stayed out and he was able to get a top 10 out of it. Remarkable day for those guys. And I mentioned Weishart, the biggest mover, well, second biggest mover in the points. He went up from dead last to 20th in the standings. Rocky Boyd was 35th in Daytona. Now he is 12th in the standings after his runner-up spot here at Homestead. Just an unbelievable day. Seth Knoll is the leader in the points as well. Reese Schaefer second, Connor Horn third, Jacob Harbert's fourth, Douglas Zubing fifth. But the spot to watch out for. Frankie Barroso is tied with David Brown for that final cutoff spot for the point standings. So it's no longer winning, you're in, but you got to get as many points as you can, and those that stayed out definitely collected big today.
Absolutely. Strategy is the name of the game. And if you like what you saw, again, tune in tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, for the Area Truck Series. Will be double duty here on PTR TV. We'll have another series, the ARCA series for Triple Bypass, running at Lucas Oil simultaneously, so you can watch one after the other. And then we'll be back live on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Pro Series. Wednesday, we have some road racing, elbows back out. So we have a full week of action on PTR TV. Help us get to 2,000 subscribers. But that's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.